Hello everyone and welcome to the final game of the Casablanca Chess tournament, Magnus Carlsen versus Hikaru Nakamura, and they are revisiting a game from the Women's World Chess Championship match 1999 between Junshi and Alisa Galyamova. Now Junshi, two times Women's World Champion, Alisa Galyamova, two times contender for the Women's World Championship. It took a long time for them to organize the match. It was supposed to happen sometimes in 1997, but it was supposed to be played completely in China, as China had the largest bid for the event, and Galyamova decided not to play as she wanted half of the tournament, half of the match to be held in her own country. And then later on, they were supposed to organize a match between Junshi and the champion Zsuzsa Polgar. But she could not compete at the moment, and so the title was vacated. And then the World Chess Championship match was organized finally in 1999, with half of the match being held in China and half of the match being held in Russia. And interesting that there's been a lot of talk online about the strongest chess couples, and there really are a lot of them, like regarding ratings. But Alisa Galyamova up until 1996 was married to none other than the great Vasily Vanchuk, and well, I don't know if that would make them the strongest chess couple ever, but they are certainly out there. As in those days in 1996, Vasil was slapping everyone left and right. There was no one who could hide from him, and obviously Galyamova incredibly strong as well, as she played the match for the title of Women's World Champion. So yeah, just a little bit of extra info about the game, and they will be revisiting game 2 of their match. In the end, like I said, Junshi won the match, but what a position it was. And the players and the Magnus as well said that he was that he enjoyed very much playing these positions, as he would get into positions that he doesn't usually have, but he handled them very nicely, and other players did as well. So let's see what happened here. Pawn to e4, pawn to c5, and I will always tell you when we deviate from the game of the original World Chess Championship match, and then when we have a new position. So knight f3, knight to c6, we have pawn to d4, captures, and now knight to f6, knight to c3, and d6. This is the classical Sicilian. We have bishop to g5, the Richter-Rauzer variation, pawn to e6, and now queen to d2. We have pawn to a6 and castles queenside. And now bishop to d7 today is the most popular. Knight captures on d4 is what was played in the match in 1999. Queen captures on d4 and bishop to e7. We have pawn to f4 and now pawn to b5. We have bishop captures on f6 and now g captures on f6. Again, nothing new happening here, but if you are a Rauzer player, or if you play against the Rauzer, you should know that bishop captures on f6 is instant resigns. Point being that pawn to e5 can be played, and now you really don't have a move. Your bishop is hanging. If you move the bishop, then he captures on d6 happens, and of course if you capture here, then look at this, queen e4. You attack the queen and the rook on a8, and here black just falls apart. You can even try to defend with bishop d7, sort of everything is still being defended, but the rook captures on d7, and after king captures, you can't capture with the queen, otherwise queen captures here. So king captures, and now this very nasty bishop captures on b5 check. A captures, and now rook to d1 with check, king e7, and you take the queen. First, of course, you prevent the rook from entering the game, and then once the king moves, you pick up the queen. Captures, and you don't nearly have enough material to play this. Of course, you cannot take. Queen captures will pick up the bishop, and after bishop g5 check and king b1, you even have the knight here preventing checkmate from being delivered. So yeah, it's completely winning. You will take on b5. You will start pushing your passed pawns, easily winning. But yeah, you could easily make a mistake of playing bishop captures on f6. So of course, playing bishop captures on f6. So here g captures on f6. Pawn to e5, pawn to d5, keeping the d file and this diagonal closed. King to b1, and now bishop to d7. And here, pawn to f5 is what is most played nowadays when the position is still reached, but here we have queen to e3 and pawn to f5 now, and this is the position where the players have actually started their game. So this was the position in front of Magnus and Hikaru when they started playing, and Magnus continued with pawn to g4, and he did spend some time studying the position. He used up like a minute and a half for this move, and it is the move that Junshi actually played in the World Chess Championship match. So f captures h3, continuing in the exact same fashion as Junshi. G captures, and now bishop captures on h3 is what Junshi played, but Magnus goes rook captures on h3. And it's not like it's the only move to consider. You could also play queen g1 with some queen g7 ideas. You could play pawn to f5 right away. So many things are possible here. Magnus goes for rook captures on h3, and it is now, as of move 17, that we have a completely new game. Queen to c7 and queen to g1. Preparing queen to g7, we have pawn to b4 by Hikaru, challenging the knight. Queen to g7. You have to keep the rook safe, rook to f8, and now knight to e2. The knight is being shifted to d4, where you will use it for attacking purposes, but also as a defender of the c2 pawn, as you know that rook to c8 is coming. So rook to c8, and now knight to d4. The engine, of course, wants to snatch a pawn while guarding the c2 pawn, but Magnus goes for knight to d4, and now bishop to c5. If you do nothing, then just rook captures on h7 and white will be winning. So bishop to c5, threatening bishop captures on d4, eliminating the defender of c2, and then capturing. Queen captures on h7. Now the queen is guarding the c2 pawn. Hikaru captures on d4, rook captures, and now queen to c5, putting pressure on the rook. And once the rook moves, preparing ideas like queen f2, queen captures on f4, and so on. So rook to d1 and queen to f2. The situation on the clock here is almost the same. 5 minutes and 58 seconds for Magnus, 6 minutes and 1 second for Hikaru. So almost identical. And Magnus just says, all right, you have go at that f4 pawn. I'm just going to capture on a6 with an attack on your rook. So of course the rook has to move, but the position is now objectively winning for Magnus. So feel free to pause the video and try to find the only way to win this while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding this very clean maneuver. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it has nothing to do with the bishop. It is queen to g7. That's the only move that wins, and that is the move that Magnus played. And the point is, now if you take the bishop, then comes rook to h8, the move that you really had to see, and now you have to be able to calculate that you can checkmate the black king, or at least that black will suffer severe material loss. So point is that queen captures will be checkmate, so you have to trade captures with check, king e7, queen f6 check, king to e8, and rook to h1. The threat of checkmate is now rook to h8, so you have to make room for the king on d7 by moving the bishop somewhere. Bishop to a4 is the best, but you know, for the sake of making the variation shorter, I will show a bishop to b5 line. Then it comes rook to h8 with check, king to d7, and now you just continue with checkmate. Queen captures on f7 check, king to c6, rook to c8 with check, king to b6, and now queen to 7 will be checkmate. And if the bishop, of course, was on a4, the king would have the b5 square, but you know, the black king would not survive for long. I just decided to make it shorter. So queen to g7, and Hikaru finds the only move that keeps him in the game, sort of, bishop to c6. And now Magnus has to really tread carefully, because he could very easily just force a draw. And he could also fight for a win. Now, there are many moves that Magnus can play to continue fighting for a win here, but as he went into this round with a full point ahead of Hikaru, it means also that if he draws this game, he's definitely the winner of the tournament. And you know, if you want to beat Hikaru, then there's always a chance that Hikaru will beat you back. So here Magnus just forced a draw with rook to h8. He gave up the bishop for a perpetual check, but just for fun, I will show you what happens if you continue this game, because it's really, I mean, it's just a brutal position. So here, sorry, not of course, queen captures on f7. So Magnus played rook to h8. He just forced a draw, but bishop to d3, for example, amongst other moves, like also rook d to h1 is enough for a win. But let's say bishop to d3, just to show you what a rich position this is. And it's really a shame that they did not continue it, because you know, many things would happen here. But look at this, bishop d3, and now queen a7, going for queen captures on a2, only counterplay for black. And now you allow it, f5. queen captures on a2 check, now you play king to c1. And now after pawn to d4 or any other move, you don't really care about any checks because you're very happy with your king on d2. Now you play rook to h6, and there's no defense against f captures on e6. Even though the queen is defending the pawn, you really don't care about that. The point is that now queen to d5, for example, f captures on e6, you cannot capture because bishop to g6 check, you force the king to d8, then you take the free rook. Black falls apart completely, but you could always look for some, engine-like counterplay with pawn to b3. And here the game again becomes very interesting. Look at this. E captures on f7 check, rook captures queen to g8 check, king to e7 attacking the white queen, queen to g5 check, king to e8, and now rook to h8 with check. King to d7, rook captures on a8, for example, bishop captures, and now this beautiful pawn to e6 check. You force the queen to capture. Of course, you cannot capture with the king, so queen captures, and now bishop to g6, attacking the rook, but really going for bishop to h5, bishop to g4 to win the black queen, and after something like rook f6, rook captures on d4 check, king to c8, and now bishop h5, going for bishop to g4, so black would force a rook trade, rook f1 check. Of course, you would hope for this, but bishop to d1, and now after, let's say, offering a queen trade, you will decline the trade, and after, let's say, king to c7, queen to g3 check, king to c8, queen to h3 with check, now nicely connecting with the rook, and after, let's say, king to b8, okay, the queen is defending the rook, but you take the pawn, and now you're up 2 pawns, the black king is wide in the open, you will eventually win this game. But you still have to play, and it's still not straightforward. You will still have to play like 40, 50 more moves to actually win this. So, while it is possible to win, and Magnus is winning here, it would take a lot of risk-taking, and especially against a player like Hikaru, who you make one, mistake where Hikaru can outcalculate you, and he will outcalculate you. So Magnus just went for rook to h8, and he said, all right, I will not be winning this game, but I take the win in the tournament. And I think he did it because the trophy for this tournament is beautiful. Like, I've never seen such a nice trophy, and I will show it to you after this game, because I'm positive that Magnus saw the trophy and he was like, yeah, I'd play for the win, but that trophy, I mean, it's so nice. So, yeah, okay, rook captures, queen captures with check, king to d7, and now queen to f6, offering the bishop to go for a perpetual. Rook captures on a6, queen captures on f7 check, king to c8, and now queen captures on e6 check, king b7, and here we just have a threefold repetition, and there's nothing more to be done here. If you try to be ambitious and go for king to b6, then you just capture on b4 with check, and then you might even consider playing this for the win. But yeah, Magnus is happy with a draw. He takes the win in the tournament, and these are the final standings of the event. So Magnus wins with 4.5 points. That win against Hikaru in the first half really packs a punch. Hikaru second with 3.5 points, Anand third with 3, and Bassam Amin in last place with 1 point. He got the 2 draws. So yeah, very nicely played by all of them, but it is Magnus Carlsen who takes the win. I mean, it was all about that beautiful victory. I would say against Anand in the Evans Gambit. I mean, that is absolutely spectacular. And this is the trophy I was talking about, because if not for this trophy, I believe Magnus would play this for a win. So yeah, sorry, I have it somewhere here. Yeah, look at this. I mean, absolute beautiful. It's supposed to be a chess knight, I believe, but it's like some Dark Souls like magnificent demon steed. I mean, who would not want that in their cabinet? I'm pretty sure Magnus probably has a separate property just to keep all of his trophies. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely the one you don't want to miss out, because you want to just beat Hikaru and force a nice win. So yeah, I mean, who doesn't take this trophy? Who amongst us would not take this trophy and just force a draw against Hikaru? So yeah, just wanted to share that. Yeah, big congratulations to Magnus Carlsen. He said he really enjoyed playing all of these positions. I mean, because they are something that you usually don't have. And I've seen an interview with him. He said that he did not know where this position was from, but he knew that in the Women's World Champions they did play a lot of Richter-Rauzer, so he thought that maybe it was from a Women's World Championship, and he was right there, but it's not like he knew the ins and outs of the game. I mean, he took a minute and a half for his first move. So yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. What do you think about this setup, the Casablanca Chess, where, you know, players revisit the legendary games of the past? Yeah, you know, if it catches on, players will really have to know all of them by heart, because that will be the new theory for this type of chess. So yeah, I mean, I'm very much looking forward to seeing them and, you know, exploring many more Evans Gambit positions from the days of the old. I would like to thank Michael LeBlanc, Gerhard Henkelmann, Richard Knapp, Cameron Mascari, and Gil Concalves for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, to really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the checkup on your wonderful suggestions and everything else that happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.